Hey guys, what's going on? ZeroArmada here. Gonna do something a little bit different with this video. It's gonna be a little map overview commentary, and what I'm gonna do is just gonna go over our particular map. This one's gonna be Vertigo, of course, and I'm just gonna go over some spots, some areas I like to utilize, what a lot of people like to do on particular maps. Hopefully, this is really helpful. Let me know. I'll go ahead and make a lot more, and eventually, I want to do a video for every map. But most of these are just going to be emphasis on objective-based gameplay, pretty much CTF, Domination, King of the Hill, stuff like that. And for the most part, that kind of blends into like TDM, so it's kind of the best of both worlds, hopefully. But Vertigo is pretty much a small map. It's not as small as Holodeck, for instance, but it's kind of a typical average map comparable to a map like Deadlock or Heavy Metal or Pile Driver. It's a lot of close-knit corners, alleyways. There's a couple areas where there's a couple long-range engagements, but for the most part, you're kind of restricted to a lot of close-range combat. So receivers like the SMG, TSMG, the BSMG, and the assault rifle are probably ideal. There's a couple areas you can definitely snipe at. The helipad over here. There's a couple ramps that a lot of people like to utilize for sniping, such as the ramp over there. And there's a ramp over there people like to snipe on and take some pot shots at. And those are perfectly fine too, and those are especially effective if you know how to use those. But right now, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the kind of the centralized area. This is kind of the central roof. From here, you can virtually get to every part of the map pretty fast. You have one of the domination points, which is over in that room over there. You have another domination point across this bridge over there, which you can kind of make your way through from this hallway. And then you have another domination point, which is pretty close underneath the helipad over here. So you can pretty much, for domination, you can get to virtually any point. This is a crucial area to kind of keep contained and under your control in domination. King of the Hill, you typically have a point over here, so that's kind of a main choke point as well for King of the Hill. And then CTF, of course, it's ideally, this is probably the best way to go about like getting the enemy's flag to your base and vice versa, because of the fact that I typically don't really like going through the bridge over here. You kind of see people, there's a CTF point over there, and there's a CTF point way back on the corner of that map over here on this side. But you typically see people either go from here to get the flag to their base, or you see them kind of go from this pathway over here, and you see people kind of just go from the center. And really, the reasoning why I don't really like to go from the bridge, and this is kind of general for like TDM and stuff like that, I really hardly go from this bridge, is because you're pretty much vulnerable to fire from every single spot. I mean, if you come across this bridge, you can kind of get back shots. Someone could spawn behind you. The ramp over there. You have a vantage point. People have a vantage point up here. You're virtually just pretty much open, out in the open. You have no cover, so you're kind of vulnerable. I typically just I'd go from here, the ramp over here, or the little platform over there. If I want to go from here to there, or from there to here, I just typically travel across that area. And kind of the same mindset with this pathway over here. First off, I've seen people jump off here, and that kind of sucks. I honestly, that's happened to me a couple of times. I've seen people just jump off and completely miss this jump and die. But not only that, but you really don't have that much room to work with. You have a ladder, and that's always kind of asking for trouble. There might be someone up there camping that with a blackout or something. But this general area right here, you have no cover, similar to the bridge, and there could be people up here waiting just to jump you. And same thing over here, a platform. People like to camp up here. If you have like a sniper rifle, a bolt action, or like a combat rifle, people like to generally kind of pick people off from this little area and work these boxes. And people can just come up here and boom, 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 you're dead. So you really have no cover. You can kind of get jumped off from any point. When you're up on the roof and you kind of travel from the roof, you're at the same level as everyone else. Like, there's no one above you. There's no one really underneath you for the most part, except for here. And then you pretty much have a lot of places you can ambush people, especially this little platform right here. You can kind of like get a look at where people are coming from if they're underneath here. You have the elevator you can camp. You have a ladder you can camp. You have a great vantage point on this bridge, which is kind of similar to the bridge over there, where it's pretty much open to anyone firing from this vantage point. And then there's a vantage point over here. You can kind of camp out and pick people off. And there's a domination point that's right there. You can kind of pick people off there, and you can pick people off over here too. So Vertigo is just really about positioning, where you can get the best positioning to pick people off of. And I've seen people kind of do this too. I mean, you're out in the open, but people don't really expect you to be here. And then also, people don't really know about this. A couple people do, but for the most part, no one knows you can. There's like a little broken gate area right over here. You can kind of travel the pipes. So if you have a flag, this might be kind of a way to kind of catch people off guard in the pub. Like a scrim or something, this might not really work because people would probably know about the spot. But you can kind of catch people off guard by going this way. You're still kind of vulnerable over here. There's these gates over here you can kind of shoot through. So you gotta watch out for that. But for this domination point over here, if you're defending it, you can always close this gate over here. This will close that. Typically people like to put a barricade up here, and that pretty much eliminates anyone from coming in this way. So ideally you'll probably have 1 or 2 areas of access that people can come through if you're defending this domination point, or if you're just defending this area in general. So you can always utilize that, and there's a depot right there too. So this is a pretty nice spot to just camp out if you're like camping, and take your shots when you can. Other things to kind of look for in this map. Elevators are always a bad kind of an idea, so I would typically avoid it. There's also another way you can get up here. Ladders too. People are really kind of keen on defending this area, so they'll look to pick you off if you're going to come up here. But you can always come through this back route in this little room. There's a little stairway you can go up. Of course, that also runs the risk of being kind of spotted and seen from up here. But that's always something to keep in mind. Is there any other areas? Kind of really haven't gone over. This general area, similar to what I said earlier, you can kind of get jumped up by virtually any position. This like centralized area. You have the little platform over here, the helicopter platform. You have the platform over here, over there, over there. So you pretty much don't really have that much cover. But if you have teammates over here, you can kind of utilize these walls and kind of wall bang, and get a couple shots off here. I like the spot a lot. Also, there's a depot over here, so you can refill health and ammo if you need to. And kind of similar over here. This one, I really wouldn't recommend it because people really like to cover the air vents, and they can kind of pick their shots off here, and they can kind of pick you down over here pretty easily. You have like the perfect angle. You can't really wall bang from here effectively. And speaking of this area, let me go over to this area. This is another good spot. If you're like if your team's over here and you're like kind of trying to defend a dom point, or if you just have all your people over here in like a TDM match, this is also another great spot. People don't realize you can kind of walk through here. So this is like another great area. If you have like someone over here waiting for you to kind of pop out, you can just go through here. And of course I missed the jump like an idiot. Let me go back and do that again. You can also do it here too. You can kind of walk through this little area, but you can kind of walk through here and kind of sometimes you can catch them off guard and kind of throw them off by doing that, which is great. But this area in general, great for picking shots over here. You can typically have a blackout around this corner and kind of peek it when you need to. Of course, there's always someone like over here too with like a bolt action or a combat rifle, kind of trying to pick people off, especially like in a domination match or a CTF match. So keep that in mind. What else? Elevator over here. There's a depot over here, of course. Also another kind of a cool thing to do. You can actually jump on here and catch people off guard. You can just stay up here if you want to and just get to jump on someone like that and boom, 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 or whatever. This general area is a CTF point, also a domination point. You have a blackout over here. Typically what I see people do, kind of camp it out here, wait for people to come by. You're really out in the open here. You can be shot. Like you have 2 places where you're pretty much vulnerable to fire at all times. So typically it's just kind of safe to play it back and just play it like right here. Kind of eliminate one of those windows to be shot from. Of course, you have to always keep in mind this back area. So that's what people typically do to kind of play off here. You're not really that safe. I've seen people kind of camp these corners over here with like a blackout or something, and someone from a ramp over here can pick you off. You're kind of pretty much out in the open over here, and if you need to run, someone comes from this way, someone comes from that way, you have to run. You're pretty much running a linear path, so you're gonna get shot down pretty easily. So I mean, this is kind of a no-no. You're kind of like stuck in a corner over here, so I wouldn't recommend you camp here. And of course, there's a door here you can hack and bring down. You can have 2 areas of access if you have a CTF or a domination point. Ramp over here, like I talked about earlier, people like to camp this out. Perfect spot for wall banging. You can head glitch really badly here. Typically, all you really need to worry about is that area over here. That's where a lot of people like to pick you off. This is that's probably the best spot to pick someone off over here. Is if you kind of shoot it out over there. That's probably the best vantage point in my opinion. And of course, over there's another good vantage point if you want to pick someone off over here. But you have to really be careful if you're kind of over there or over there trying to pick someone off here, because like I said, this is a really good head glitching spot, and you really don't see that much of a head or that much of a body for that matter if someone knows what they're doing. But this is probably the best spot for sniping because you have such a wide area of view. You can kind of pick people off over there. You see people coming from there, etc. So you have a lot of area you can roam about in such a small amount of room in this little ramp, if that makes sense, which it probably doesn't, but whatever. And then the other ramp I was talking about earlier, this is also another great spot because you pretty much only have to worry about your backside. Maybe put like a little landmine over here or something like that to kind of keep your back covered. But for the most part, you really have to worry about just the upper area over here. And if someone's kind of trying to come across from over here and to kill you, you can pretty much just jump over them. You can kind of get the jump on them. Maybe like back up, go around and kill them, or you can just, jump up and get the jump on them before they come after you. So this one's another good spot because you don't really have that much area to worry about getting shot from a little bit. I mean, mostly, for the most part, if someone's going to pick you off, they're going to pick you off from over there, or the ramps. There's not really much else people can do to try to pick you off for the most part. And just trying to see if I missed anything in general. Yeah, this would probably be a good place to kind of TDF points right here for the other side, and I wouldn't go. You kind of open it in the fire from there. I would probably, if you have like the flag or something, I'd probably use this pathway and go either that way or kind of go up that way. Like I said, there's really not much you can do because you can come up here, but you're kind of open to fire. You can come up this way, but you're pretty much out in the open as well. So you kind of just have to pick your poison and pick the point that has the least amount of exposure. Because that's kind of, you have a couple of exposure points. You have that exposure point over there, like I was talking about, that big open area, and then you have this big old chunk of area over here. This area over here is kind of open, but you have these little platforms that you can kind of head glitch off of, or just camp it out and get a good vantage point off of. So it's not really that much of a big deal. Also, another thing I like to do over here, you can jump up this little gate, and you can this little camp it up over here. People don't really expect this either, especially if there's like someone trying to come after you. Bam bam, they get a couple shots on you, you kind of peel back and then kind of come this way. What you can do instead of peeling back is you can just jump on the gate and just like kind of catch them off guard too. So there's a couple little intricate little things you can do to kind of throw people off. A couple little areas that are kind of nice. This area right here, I would never camp this area in a lifetime. Don't do it because you're pretty much screwed. You have this open area you have to watch out for, and in here, so you're pretty much pinned for sure. I mean, regardless, once you walk out, you're gonna be shot somewhere if there's a person over here. So you really have one route of escape, and that's not really a good thing. You're backing yourself in the corner, so I really wouldn't recommend you guys camp here. I've seen that happen a couple times. And this little area over here is also a great vantage point. Like I said, this is probably a good spot to pick off the ramp people over there. gotta watch out a little bit. But for the most part, people either go up here and camp it out, or they kind of try to pick them off from over here. And then of course you can pick off people over here coming up here, or you can get the jump. And I guess that's pretty much it, since I'm out of time. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. If you have any comments, if you want to see anything else, let me know. And thanks for watching as always, guys. Appreciate it.